college. Because ultimately, the governance councils only do what you tell us you think needs to be done. Okay? So, to the extent that you can participate in the council, to the extent that you have ideas, or you have concerns, or you see problems, or you want to see things get done, please let us know. All of the council chairs who are sitting in the audience need to be up here at the panel table, because y'all are part of the presentation too. So now the audience is going to go away.
Oh, good.
We have wanted to show you the SharePoint site, because the SharePoint site is where all of the information, it's a transparent way of putting the information up and available for you to see. One of the bad things about this room is that the lighting is really horrible in terms of slide presentation, and it never really gets dark. So the first website, the first link is kind of a screenshot of the Academic Advisory Council website, SharePoint site. And the only reason it's up here first is because alphabetically, Academic Advisory Council goes first. So we try to put everybody in alphabetical order. We wanted to tell you what the mission of the Academic Advisory Councils were, because frankly, we wanted to make sure that if there was an area of interest that you had, that you could join one of the councils. The councils solicit volunteers. We are always looking for people who have interest in areas and want to give us input into what should happen. So, Academic Advisory Council, essentially the mission of the Academic Advisory Council is to look for academic issues, okay? Things that deal with learning, deal with student concerns, deal with how, as an institution, we may have policies or procedures that create problems for our students. And a lot of times we collaborate, because all of the academic chairs who are sitting up here now and who will introduce themselves, oh, by the way, I'm Patrice Davis, I introduced myself. All of them who will introduce themselves, essentially they are sit on the Academic Advisory Council, and sometimes we put our heads together and come up with a pressing issue. One of the major initiatives a couple of years ago was the demand that the institution provide internet in the classroom. As in, how do you expect us to teach in the 21st century when we can't even go online in our classrooms and show our students what resources exist? We're asking students to use resources, we don't even go online. That did not happen, though, in a vacuum. It happened because PDAC, developing professional development, essentially, and ICAC, which deals with institutional computing, did a survey and asked people, well, what do you need? And people said, and overwhelmingly they said, hey, we need internet in our classroom. So I use that example to say that, you know, a lot of times you feel that you're meeting on committees and nothing happens, but things actually do happen as a result of your work. So for AAC, we worked on the Lampet legislation, worked on making the state acknowledge that African American history was a genuine force, which they said wasn't. We looked at research that dealt with why are our students not being successful? This was back in like 2007. I mean, this was a long time ago. And Marvin Mack did a research analysis in which he found out that a person who was declared a major was 160 times more likely to stay engaged into college if they declared a major. And that full-time was much better, and that if students had a real academic core college course, they were more successful than if they had a course that really didn't deal with like the academic, degenerate course. And then, we did a study where we looked at the number of students. We were asked, well, what if we changed all the degrees to 60 credits? Would that mean students would graduate? And we looked at 800 students who had 55 to 60 credits, and guess what? They were not graduating because of major courses. They were not graduating because of math and English literature, courses that require higher level of work and required and gave students problems. We also looked at math anxiety, created the SharePoint website. We're looking now at the footers, how to get them out in 3 years or less. And we use academic forums. The next academic forum is on September 17th. So I hope everyone comes to attend. And moving forward, we were going to continue looking for the footer and look at advisement. So I am finished. Who is next? Get back. That's your ritual.
Do I get the button? Oh, good. The big green button in the middle?
No, the one on the side. That looks like an arrow going forward.
Oh.
There you go.
Hi.
Hi.
For those who don't know me, I'm Professor Richard Bogart. And for those who do know me, I'm Professor Richard Bogart.
Dance some more.
We don't dance.
Okay, Barbara. Thank you, Barbara. I teach English in the Humanities Division, and for the past 6 years, I have been the chair of the Academic Foundation's Advisory Council, or AFAC. I will pop to the mission statement rather than telling you what it does. Okay. AFAC, I actually changed this, so this is not the official mission statement. I changed it to reflect what I thought was the current reality, but I get the impression from Dr. Gibson's address this morning that I was still one step behind, because I imagine that what she was referring to as the Executive Council today was IAC, last year was the Dean's Council the year before. So I imagine that that's the body that she's moving up to Executive Council. So I think I'm reflecting last year here. But AFAC is responsible for making recommendations and advising, I guess now, the Executive Council, affecting all matters relating to developmental and remedial education. These include placement testing, outcomes assessment, instructional strategies, technology, academic support services, and faculty support. That's the mission statement that was drafted by the administration 7 years ago when they were first developing the councils. And like I said, with the change in wording as to who we report to, it's the mission statement today. So in other words, AFAC, or Academic Foundations Advisory Council, basically looks at issues regarding developmental and remedial education in the college, makes recommendations, be it math, be it English and reading, adult learning, ESL, and not only the courses taught by the regular divisions, but also the courses taught by the Center for Academic Foundations, through the adult learning resources, etc. If you have any questions, keep them to yourself. No. Over the past 6 years, right, I kind of looked at what I thought were perhaps major accomplishments through the history of the council to this point, and I came up with what was quite controversial, so if anybody wants to curse, believe me, I'm tough with that, okay? Regular review and support of innovative approaches taken in represented divisions. We've had, particularly, I must say, in math, we have had a lot of reports from our faculty of innovative things that are occurring in those programs, and we've looked at them and kind of watched their development and mentored their development and watched the progress, okay, that those areas made. A development of a rubric utilized for coordination of approaches taken for placement and curriculum development. I suspect leading into middle states. We had created a rubric of how each division does placement, how students are brought into developmental courses, so how placement is done in each division, how the placement is examined and corrected in each division, how curriculum is developed in each division for developmental courses, how the course outlines are created, how faculty are chosen and supported, how textbooks are chosen, okay? And the approaches that are taken toward looking at the results and making changes. So a rubric was developed that reflected all of that. The last one I put up there, certainly the most major and certainly probably the most controversial action that the council has ever taken was last year, the change in grading policy for developmental courses, when essentially the F grade was set aside for developmental courses and the grade of making progress was included. That was after about a year and a half of research, of open discussion with faculty and divisions, okay? Looking at what other institutions do and looking at what other institutions do successfully. And the follow-up to that is going to be part of the next slide you're going to see. Challenges that lie ahead. I'm going to add two things to this list. One that I kicked myself for not adding when I put this together and submitted it, and one that I didn't add up here intentionally because I'm going to tell you. The longitudinal study of effects of changes in the grading policy and appropriate revisiting of the policy. Part of the change in the grading policy always was the intent to do longitudinal study. Not just to look at the immediate results of any semester, but to take that semester and look at the students who completed developmental ed or perhaps failed to complete developmental ed in that semester and compare retention and performance for those students over the coming year or two, okay, at least, perhaps 2 years, okay? Comparing the performance of those students to those bodies of students who came before the change, to see if it makes a positive change, to see if it makes a negative change, to see if it made no change at all, and to look at how it ought to be further modified in terms of the research that's done. And that was always the intent when this was done. Study of the nature of plagiarism and the best approaches toward teaching academic integrity. We were asked a year ago to look at the issue of, to begin at this level, to look at the issue of plagiarism. And I did some beginning research and presented it, what plagiarism is, and that's an interesting and complicated question. How it should be best approached with our students right across the board, and how education regarding it and regarding proper documentation should be done. A committee has been formed at the council level, and the intent is to begin the work at this council level, but to then expand that work to AAC and ultimately a faculty-wide college presentation and perspective on how this should be done. And then finally on the screen, a review of the college's approach to reading instruction. We have been talking about this for a year. One faculty member of humanities, Professor Higgins, a well-experienced member of the division, has been taking, I think, a pretty progressive and positive approach toward tying reading and writing instruction together. She has also, over the years, been very actively involved, both in terms of coordination and teaching the reading course. And Professor Higgins and I have met with Vice President Knox to begin the formation of a team to look at the issue of reading instruction and English instruction tied together, to begin to examine how reading might best be approached. So that's going to be moving up off the council into a full faculty embracing team to talk about how we might best do it. The way the reading course is taught right now is a little unclear. Some people see it as kind of English on 96B. All right? And so I think we really need to look at reading and how it should be taught and how it is taught and how we need to move forward from it. Okay. 2 more points. The one I forgot to put up there, as most people know, last year Professor Frank DeRoy of biology put forward a proposal regarding the recognition of students who have completed their developmental work, and also the recognition of students who have completed half of the work toward an associate's degree. I found, and I think a good number of people found, that proposal to be a very positive one. And I brought it back to our council, and our council voted unanimously to recommend moving forward on it. Okay? And the council would be very happy to continue to be involved in the development of that event, of that, coming culmination. I think that's a terrific idea. As some of you know, I was the director of the Center for Academic Skills of the developmental program here at the college for a good number of years. A couple people in the audience here worked with me on that. And when we were doing that, we did that. We recognized students when they completed the program, and I think that was a very positive thing. And I find Frank's proposal to be an extremely positive one. So AFAC is going to certainly, it supports it and wants to move forward and helping with it. The other point that I didn't put on the screen intentionally, okay, is that there's going to be a transition of leadership. I've done this for 6 years. When it was first formed, the bylaws said that a person would be chair for no more than 2 two-year terms. At the end of my second 2-year term, I was ready to step down. Dr. Abdullah asked me to remain 1 more year to offer solidity for the middle states process. I agreed to do that. Here we are 2 years later, and I have made it clear that I am stepping down. Dr. Knox and I have met and are going to be meeting in terms of transitioning, bringing in a new chair, okay? And I have absolutely promised him that I will do everything possible to mentor, to remain active, and to mentor that new chair into leadership of the council. So, any questions? Like, yeah, why doesn't he know how to shut up?
Well, this is, I mean, the only thing that you're missing now is lunch. So, we're gonna have the chairs do their presentation, and we may go over a little bit into lunch, but I think, what they have to say is very important, and we should let them hear it.
I should go to who's next one?
Thank you.
Go on.
Hi, I'm Ines Figueiras. I will make this quick. I'm the chair of the Institutional Computing Advisory Council, called ICAC. The purpose of the council is to make recommendations and evaluate issues related to policies and procedures on the use of technology. So that's a big area right now. Dr. Gibson has committed to changing our technological issues as they are at this point. These were our goals for academic year 12 and 13. Support the college in its assessment and retention efforts, identify and prioritize technological needs of the faculty, and make implementation recommendations, and introduce new technologies to faculty. So just to elaborate a couple on these points, in terms of identifying and prioritizing technological issues, Patrice alluded to that. The discussion about internet access and Wi-Fi capabilities have come up frequently, and IT has made progress on improving that. Learning management system have been selected and are underway to be implemented. As far as introducing new technologies, we've done a few workshops over the years. I've been chair for 2 years, and we've introduced online grade books and online homework systems that faculty are actually using, and they've done demos as to how they use them and how they help their students. ICAC accomplishments, so like I said, we had 4 demos of a learning management system to faculty last September. So of 4, we surveyed faculty, we narrowed it down to 2, and we did more demos in the spring to kind of zero in on what faculty really needed. And in the end, a recommendation was made to IAC, which is the council that Rich referred to, which is where our deans and our VP sit. And basically, 2 LMSs were selected, and it was based on functionality, cost, ease of use, and compatibility with Banner. So they selected Moodle for fully online and hybrid courses, and Ngrade Pro for our traditional courses, which we are really hoping that people will embrace because it's so easy to use. And so we're calling those technologically, oh, I missed the word. Technologically enhanced classes rather than just traditional classes. We researched and made proposals to satisfy the tech competency goal, which is a Gen Ed goal. And so we narrowed that down to a particular tool. It's called My IT Lab. And so that was a charge that Dr. Gibson had given me early on. And so I spoke to representatives from the County College of Morris in terms of what they're doing. And so it's just a way for students to get assessed on where they are in terms of technological competency, and then self-remediate, and then have like a test application. So right now it's just a proposal. There has not been a decision as to how or if that will be implemented. And finally, we've collaborated with PDAC, which is the council that Lynn chairs, and we've done 2 publishers technology open houses in March of 2011 and 2012. And those have been really fun events. It's taken place here where all the publishers are invited. They bring their technological tools, and faculty, adjuncts and full-time faculty have an opportunity to kind of chat with them all and see what they have to offer. And the feedback has been very positive. People have actually experimented with new technology and have gotten a chance to meet reps that they didn't get a chance to meet at other times, especially adjuncts who are hard to track down. And we've also offered 2 Banner/Web Services training sessions. And we're really trying to encourage people to start using web services more. And actually, there's some functionality on web services now that wasn't there before, such as finding test scores. And that's as a result of discussions that we've had in ICAC. And because Dean Siddiqui is on that council and he hears us, when it's something that he could implement quickly, that it happens. So I think it's less cumbersome than it used to be. ICAC next steps, just like Rich said, my 2-year term was up in August, so I've stepped down. And Dr. Knox and I are meeting this week to transition the role to a new chairperson who has volunteered for the job. And he has a long list of goals, but I just threw up a few. And I know that he wants ICAC to give input to policies regarding distance education. So we're offering our first distance education courses this fall. And there's a lot of policies that need to be ironed out in terms of that new area that we're going into. Support the college in its implementation of the learning management system. ICAC will probably have a role in training and support for faculty. And then finally, the overall mission of the council, which is to provide information to the administration on the technological needs of faculty. So if you have any interest in that, please join the council. It is really underrepresented in terms of faculty. We have student representation, we have adjunct faculty representation, but not very much full-time faculty are represented on the faculty. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just make it quick. Hi, my name is Lynn Wilson. I am the chair for PDAC, which is the Professional Development Advisory Council. And the mission of our council is to actually provide training for faculty members. To provide training for faculty and adjunct faculty. It's not just full-time, it's also adjunct. Okay, yeah. All right. It's not just training as far as workshops are concerned. We also deal with conferences. So I know a lot of people already today. I've had people coming to me asking about conferences. I have one already prepared. I want to go. And so there's criteria for that. And during the semester, we have our first meeting in October. But during the semester, we'll be sending out PDAC we'll be sending out a form. This sort of gives you an idea as to what we're looking for as far as people who wish to attend conferences. So I would be on the lookout for that information. Also, we do training within the institution, such as as Ina's already alluded to, the Banner workshop, Banner Web Services workshop, and also the Technology Open House, which once again was very well attended. And we're looking to do that one more time, or at least try to do it again for the fall and spring. It's a lot of work, it's a big undertaking, but I think it was worth the effort. And from the feedback, I think a lot of people appreciated or really enjoyed the day. Banner Web Services, that training, the first one was underattended because there was a conflict with another meeting that was called at the last minute. But the second one was a little better. So we're still working on things. We still have to train faculty, adjunct faculty and full-time faculty, because there are new things on the horizon with the LMS and so on and so forth. So what we plan to do for this academic year, there it is. You might just go to the last slide. Let me just thank you. So this is our goal for the academic year 2013-2014. Improve communications with adjunct faculty to ensure the development. This is an ongoing process. This is something that we have to do for everyone. To pull all of our resources together. Increase the number of full-time and adjunct faculty in professional organizations. We're finding that there are people who are part of or members of organizations that we don't know about. We'd like to know who's involved in what, to make sure that we're getting, I guess, the feedback, all of the information that we require to run an institution, so that we can give the best information that we can give to our students. And if we're part of these organizations, it actually, I think, looks better for us, makes us, helps us to advance forward. Support the college in its assessment efforts. This is also an ongoing process. We will never get rid of assessment. This is going to happen, so we have to deal with it at this point. And so we are also working with Douglas Walsers, who is the Director of Assessment, and trying to get more faculty members, adjunct and full-time, to actually take part in or use the Faculty Resource Center or Faculty Assessment Center, so that we can see what our students are doing and see where they're going, see what we need to do to make changes. And so basically, PDAC is a smaller group. We're sort of different from all of the other groups. And so we're smaller. Basically what we do is we sit around, and we talk about things that we want to see in the school. And how do we go about getting them. And so that's PDAC.
Good afternoon, my name is Mary Ellen Carpenter. I'm the radiography program coordinator, and I'm the recording secretary for SAIAC, or the Standards and Assessment Advisory Council. I was asked to fill in for the chair of SAIAC, who is Carlos Castillo. I understand he's someplace better than all of us today. He's on his honeymoon. I don't know where he's honeymooning, but he's better. There you go. Okay. I don't need to read the mission statement to you. We're the last blue page in the handout that you got. You can read the mission statement. You can see what our function and scope is. It's a lunch, so I'm going to hurry through this. And we're going to talk to you about our accomplishments. It's standards and assessment. So assessment is the first thing I'm going to talk about. The programs or the departments here at Essex County College, every 5 years is supposed to do a self-study. They're supposed to internally review what's going on in their program. Are they achieving their goals? Are they not? Why aren't they? What are they doing good? What can they do better? What do we need the college to help us with? What do we have to fix on our own? And that's the whole point of doing the self-study or the self-review of the programs. What we do at SAIAC is we then take that assessment and we form subcommittees. We review those assessments to find out if the assessment of the program was done appropriately or adequately. Can we make any suggestions? and included in that, it has to include assessment of student learning outcomes, which is the latest change that they've done to it. That needs to be included. We need to see that the programs are, as Lynn had said, that's here to stay, it's not changing. Making sure that student outcomes is being assessed is one of our long-running goals. Like, that's never going to come off of our list of goals for SAC. The other thing we do is we review different things that are going on in the college. We need to, we've been working on the student evaluation of faculty form for, Kevin, how long now? A while.
18 years.
18 years. It's not
I'm slightly
an
exaggerating.
easy process because every time it gets rolled out, somebody else notices something else.
Yeah.
And then Carlos needs to take it to the next, advisory committee, and then it comes back to us. But it's something that's been, I think, close to being done. So that may be coming forward soon. Another
Been
thing.
about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Another thing we've been working on is course prerequisites. It turns out that students that have been taking Math 086 or 092 aren't necessarily following the path that they're supposed to, where you complete 086, you go into 092, then you can go into a college level math. Some of them are jumping. And this is something we've been reviewing, we've been looking at data, we've been finding out, well, what is the success rate for the students if they don't follow the prescribed path? And I don't need to tell you. There are a couple of superstars which can do it, but overall, it's probably not a good idea. So we've been looking at that in the past. Going forward, what we're looking at is when a department or a program has to do their self-assessment, we've been offering mentors. And now we're trying to enhance the quality of the mentor by developing a rubric or a checklist to help make sure the mentor goes over all of the points of the assessment when they're helping the program go through it. We, like I said, always continue to promote a culture of assessment. The other thing we're looking at is hybrid courses. And we're saying, well, do we assess a hybrid course differently than a regular traditional classroom course? And now I'm hearing that we're going to have distance education for the first time. So Kevin, I think we need to bring that up at the next meeting, that not only
Yes.
hybrid, but we're going to need also to look at how we're going to assess the distance education courses. One of the things that was mentioned was, why would it be any different than a traditional course? But then we said, well, maybe we should look and see what other colleges are doing and if they're doing it differently. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel if another county college has a good grasp on how to handle it. Finally, use of student cohort tracking. We're looking at possible research questions. What kind of questions should we be asking? What kind of information should we be asking for to track our students, to try to assure success of our students, helping them graduate within 3 years? What information do we need to do that? So that's our SAAC, which I prefer to refer to as SAAC, and once a month on Thursday afternoons we're meeting, and we welcome new people all the time. And that's it. Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Barbara Poe. I prepared a handout. Oh God, okay, that's enough. We discuss it. We give you the forms if you're interested in proposing a new course or a new program. Then you would contact me via email. I will send you the correct form with all of the instructions. Our council meets the first Thursday of every month, starting in October, in room 3235 in the green area. We have full representation from every department and division in the college, plus we also have a student representative. But the meeting is open to anyone who wishes to come in and listen and add their 2 cents. So the paper which I've given you shows what our accomplishments have been during the past year, what courses we approved, changes, and you can see that the courses cover a wide variety and they're all over the college. And the last page, turn over the page and you will see our recommendations which we forwarded to the Dean's Council, and which Dr. Gibson assured me that she supports completely. Okay, so Barbara Pogue, College Curriculum Advisory Council. Thank you.
Thank you.